This is a big day in electric mountain bikes because the latest generation 4 Specialized Levo has been released. Every single iteration of the Levo has been trend-setting, groundbreaking, and this one promises to outdo them all. What's up, everyone? FC here from E-MTB, and I've been lucky enough to get this bike early, and I have at least 12 to 15 rides on it. I had some blue duct tape on it. I told my wife, make it stealthy, and she color matched it. So, fascinating bike, and I've tried all the latest e-bikes around. So, we have a lot to talk about. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you the overview, the riding impressions, the strengths, the weaknesses, the pricing, the packages, and keep it at that. That's probably gonna be 15 to 20 minutes. I don't wanna bore you to death. And I'm gonna do 4 other videos on this bike. It's that deep. The other video is how fast is it compared to the Amflow, the DJI, to the CX-5 motor, and how is the noise compared. And the other video I have in my mind is 25 things that changed from the Gen 4 to the Gen 3. There's that many changes. You know, I've been riding this on the trail, people don't notice it, but it's that deep, it's that subtle, and there's so much engineering behind it that it really warrants other videos. So subscribe to the channel if you are interested in seeing that content. And if you want to purchase this, local dealer for sure, but we also have links to their corporate store, and we get credit, and it will help our channel out if you click the link and then maybe have it mailed to you or pick it up from your shop. All right, so top line things, what do you need to know? What are the can't miss items about this? So the biggest thing is a new motor. It's called the 3.1, and they developed it with their partner Brose, I believe, and it is now 111 Newton meters for the S-Works and 101 Newton meters for all the rest. So the old one was 90, so it's quite an upgrade. There's no more belt, the source of all our problems, all our woes. I broke a lot of motors as well because I'm a heavy user. Gears, reliability, and I think they really were proud of their testing. They went through so much testing. I think this bike was ready last year, and they were just making sure that everything was dialed, and most important, that it doesn't break and leave the customer with a bad experience. Next piece of news is we have 3 batteries, my friends, and the standard battery is an 840 watt hour right here, and with great power. So they up the battery capacity, and I think trends are just going towards more battery capacity, less anxiety, less thinking about your restrictions on what you can do on a particular ride. So they just went, hey, 840, and they have another battery which is a 600 watt hour battery, and it's shorter. It comes in the same space, and it's not going to be sold initially with the bike, but it's going to be purchased separately, and I'm pretty sure that the dealer will give you a swap. Maybe even give you some parts or some cash if you swap out your 840 for a 600. And the final thing on the battery is they have an extender. And I complain about extenders being 160 watt hour. They're hardly worth the trouble, and the weight of the case, the weight of the cable and the cage. What they have here is a 280 watt hour extender, and the cage itself, that holds the extender, is dialed. It is captured at the bottom, is metal, and then it is captured here on the upper frame. So there's no wiggle, there's no rattle. It is just polished, and I think that's a common theme on this whole bike. Every feature that they conjured up, they made sure it was dialed. And before I leave that subject of batteries, what's really quite special about their battery system is how easily swappable it is. It's not hot swappable like a disc strap, but it is field swappable. I would like to see someone actually be riding and swap it while they're on the bike, because I think it's doable. So all you need to do is untwist this Allen wrench right here. Boom, boom. The door is separate from the battery, and then boom, right there, it has a handle. What a concept, huh? And then you just slide it in like this, and it's captured here. So as you tighten the bolt, it cinches down the battery, and then you just close it up. So it's really literally less than 1 minute. And you just cinch down on this bolt right here. And the wrench I'm using is part of their SWAT tool. So you're gonna have it on the bike anyway. So I think that is the really one of the magical things about this system is how easily swappable it is. So removable battery, I found out in a survey that a lot of people would prefer it. You know, they prefer it because of they charge in the office or they charge in the garage. They live in an apartment. They're in Finland where it's cold, where the bike storage is. The other benefit they give you is, boom, what do you got here? This is SWAT, comes in right here and it's magnetized, so it's gonna stay on. I even rode yesterday without the main battery and it didn't fall out. So right there, pretty kind of mind-blowing, huh? They have this is a S3. For the bigger sizes, they have a bigger SWAT. But one of the things I'm planning to do, because you can ride with the extender only with no main battery, is maybe I'll surprise you, but I'm gonna take my wife on a date up on a hilltop and say, let's have a picnic, and then everything will be here. The blanket, the wine, the cheese, and whatnot. So we'll see. Make it fun. Next thing you need to know about this bike is, are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? It goes 28 miles an hour. 28 miles an hour, class 3 e-bike. If you consent to it and if you configure it that way while it's on until you shut it off. So temporarily it can go class 3 with a sequence of buttons. And right there, our jaws just dropped in the conference room when the team told us this news, because we're all like, wow. I think all the mountain bikers want it because we all know 20 miles an hour is an unnatural way of riding. You know, we go way faster than that on a regular mountain bike or a road bike. So, and it starts shutting down at 18, right? So you don't have an abrupt cutoff. So what they're saying is, hey, if you're commuting to the trailhead, if you're on private property, where class 3 is okay, you can configure it as a class 3 e-bike, which is just crazy because I have 6-7 trails here in the Silicon Valley. The valley goes to the mountains, and some of the commutes are, 5 to 10 miles. So, and I struggle with this going 19 miles an hour. But if I can go 28 and have this extender battery, I'm never going to use that car again. I'm just going to, commute with the bike to the trailhead. So they give the onus, the responsibility back to the user and say, hey, if you were in a class 1 legal bike only, use it as a class 1, which is how the motor turns on. You can configure it with the consent screens. It's going to say class 3 right here on the screen. And then as soon as you turn it off, it comes back to its default state, which is class 1. Just mind-blowing. Next thing you need to know is the travel did not change. Of all the things that changed, 25 things, there's one thing that didn't change, is the travel. 150, 160. I'm not sure why. I think that was such a staple, a proven element of the platform that they said they wanted to keep it that way because the rad guys use this bike. They upgrade the suspension, and the beginners use the bike as well. So they didn't want to pigeonhole it too much. So 150, 160, but they went with the Float X Genie shock. And let me tell you, been riding this, I have 400 miles on it. It feels like more travel than 150 because it's soft and supple and buttery. It just doesn't bottom out. I think the second air chamber closes, at the last half of the stroke, and it prevents bottom out. So 150, 160, but it feels more than that. And they do have, the bike is ready for more. You can have a 180 fork, I believe, on this thing, but you have your adjustable headset right here. You have your adjustable bottom bracket height right here, I believe here. And then you have adjustable chainstay length with this flip chip right here. The final two things I'll tell you about. One is they have a new charger. So the S-Works, what they did with S-Works is really quite correct and fascinating, which is instead of making it lighter for S-Works, what they did is they gave it more features. Because lighter on an e-bike doesn't really make much sense. 51 pounds to 49, not quite worth it. What they did is they gave it some premium features. A fast charger. This thing is metal. It is built even way superior to normal chargers and even more sophisticated than the DJI charger. So this is a 2-hour charger for that big a battery. It can charge a depleted battery to 80% in less than 1 hour. So pretty impressive. You could buy this charger separately, and it comes with the S-Works as well. The other feature on the S-Works is 111 newton meters, a little more power compared to 101. And finally, on the features list, we now had this display right here, which is full featured, colored. It's got everything. And I think it's going to come on every model from S-Works to the cheaper model. And you have a wired remote here with 5 buttons. You know, pretty fancy. It'll take a while for folks to figure it out. I'm still figuring it out and making it second nature. But you know, a lot of configuration. You could do your configuration, your 28 mile an hour. Your tune. You have micro tune. You have a dynamic micro tune. The app hasn't changed that much, but really it is they thought of everything. They also have an auto mode, which, you know, I tell the German guys this or the Swiss guys, and they're all like, we have auto mode. They go, no, it's not auto. It has to be, you know, you make you work hard in the beginning, but if you need it, you know, give you all the power in the end. So that's kind of what it does. Okay, let's talk about pricing. What are we looking at? On April 8th, 4 models are going to be released and 1 frame set. So this is the S-Works, and what's cool is they have a little better pricing now. It's going to go from $8,000 to $13,500. I believe before it was $9,000 to $15,000. So it's shifted down, and they're giving you a lot more than what they did with the Gen 3. So 4 models. The frame set is not cheap, $7,500 because it's the S-Works frame set. And will they come up with aluminum models? I'm sure they will. You know, like they have for every generation of Levo. They don't forget about the alloy and the ones on a more normal standard budget. So they're gonna have aluminum bikes for sure, is my suspicion. I just don't know when. How does it ride? The all-important question. Enough about the features. How does it ride? It rides rad. Think about the Gen 3, and this thing is just so much more. It's so dialed, so much more comfortable, so much more traction, supple. It's as if you had a Cascade Link installed already, but on a superior shock. A lot of the Gen 3s, they would convert to coil to make it soft. I'm not sure I'm going to touch this. It is so smooth and responsive. It is awesome. So, and the ride is very familiar. So on my first ride, we went to the steep trail. I was with Rob Roscoff, who is now from Santa Cruz to Specialized, and and the product managers. But if you guys know Joe Buckley, he is the man, and we were just rallying. This thing is so good, so good. Supple, controlled, and most important, I think, is fun. You know, it's like an extension of yourself. The other thing that happened is they increased either the insertion length. They made it lower, and I'm able to use a longer dropper. I believe I'm using a 180 now, but I can use a 190 on the Fox, and I'm pretty sure I can use a 210 using a 1-up dropper. So got it pre-dialed. So a lot of traction, a lot of cornering. They put instead of using a eliminator on the rear and a butcher, they have butcher, and they do have new butcher tires now. And I think the first shipment won't have the latest butcher tires, where they have more siping, a little better rubber, and but as soon as that first round of inventory goes, they will have the new tires. So the dropper, as I said, is now Fox, and it is better than the SRAM that they had. The reverb, I would always replace that. You couldn't even pull on here; it would ruin the dropper. So got rid of that. But look at this. What we have. We have Mavens. So SRAM Mavens, and these things are, you know, when it's not bled properly, it has got a floating bite point, but it seems like they have the bleed perfect. You know, the bite point to me has not changed at all. And then look at what they did. They put 200 and 220 rotors. They put a lot of brake, and really quite awesome. So now what I want to talk about is the climbing. How is this motor? How is the power? They're claiming 111 newton meters. How fast does it climb? How loud is it? I'm going to pass you over to my climbing test. No pedals, because I just did my power meter pedal testing. The old Levo, the Gen 3, climbed in 448, my test run. And then the This new one, it climbed full turbo, 200 watts of power from the rider, which is me. Same exact climb, 412. 4 minutes, 12 seconds. So it beats the Boss Gen 5, CX5, beats the Boss CX4 race. I think those were at 440 for those guys. So it's measurably faster, noticeably faster than the CX4 race or the CX5. But I think more important are the subtleties, the noise. Here you can check out the noise from the motor full turbo on the standard spot right here, which will compare to all of the motors. And what they've done here is made it so smooth and so responsive, better sensors, it's so quick. In fact, Roscoff challenged me and he says, hey, try climbing out of saddle. I go, I don't do that on e-bike because they just kind of not good and they kind of jump around on you. And this thing was so smooth. A couple times on a technical climb where I was in a jam, I just got up and it didn't jump on me. I still maintained control. So that was a big testimonial to the work they did on how to control a powerful motor. You can climb out of saddle, you could be on slippery snot, and it uses the power wisely. So hats off to them for that. Okay, now it's time for some pros and cons, my friends. And I think this is what makes E-MTB unique is I'm not afraid to give you guys my honest scoop, my controversial opinions. But I'll just give you, what I think are weaknesses of this bike. Everything I said so far has been a pro. So the first weakness is it got big. It got a little belly on it, little belly bulge, and this is 13.5 inches in girth. It's one of the bigger ones that I've seen. It's because of their big battery. And the SWAT, and I think and the door. So all these things take up room. And you end up with a big down tube, especially compared to something like the DJI Ampflow with a similar 800 watt-hour battery. The second weakness is it gained weight. It used to be 46 pounds, 46.5 pounds for the Gen 2 S-Works, and then it became 48.5 pounds on Gen 3. And then this one is now 51.7 pounds without pedals on the Gen 4. So it's just gaining weight. It's with the realization that the most important priority is usability and fun. The time of pursuing weight on a full-powered e-bike, is not their priority. It's not my priority either. It used to be 52-pound bikes rode pretty poorly, but now they're amazing. My Shuttle LT is about that weight, and it's like nothing I've ever ridden. So, and I'm experiencing with this bike as well. But it is heavy. If you go for the lower versions, maybe the aluminum when they come out, man, I don't know how heavy they're gonna be. And there's no hiding the weight when you're lifting it on your truck or moving it in your garage. Heavy is heavy when the bike is not moving. Third weakness is the button here. So the left button has three functions: a top button, a bottom button, and this toggle that you go up like this, and you press it in. And it's not intuitive. It's nothing like any other e-bike. So I think it's a little confusing, and it's going to take a lot of users, a lot of time for users to figure out, for it to be second nature. 10 rides in, I'm still hunting because a lot of these sequences, combo buttons, they take a while. The DJI system has a right-hand button and a left-hand, and they're both optional whether you want it or not. So that's easier. You got two controls and easy to remember. Also, speaking of DJI, they also have a bigger display. The display on this is rather small. It's nice and colored and detailed, but it's rather small. One of the smaller ones. It's even smaller than the Bosch Generation 4 and the one that's about to come out on Generation 5. So I wish it was bigger. Next one is the tires. I think the bike is now outrunning the tires, outperforming the tires because it's so rad. Gone is the Eliminator, and now Butcher. And Butcher, they actually improved the Butcher, but it's a marginal improvement. I can, in a blind test, I'm not sure I'll be able to tell the improvement. And And I'm used to the. I've become a tire nerd. I love the Schwalbe radials, the Magic Mary, and the Shredder. Oh man, so much grip, so much grip. And then the Michelin's with the Magix compound are good as well. So I think the tires might be holding, especially the front one, might be holding the bike back a little bit. Okay, 3 more weaknesses. I'm halfway there. Every bike will have the 840 watt hour battery, even the small bikes. They fit and they're sold that way. So it's good value, but I wish they would configure it, allow you the buyer to configure it with a 600 watt hour, save some money, save some weight. Right now, they don't have that option. Like the RE bikes, Tim Peak that I just reviewed, there's an option on the checkout, save you some money. So this thing, the 600 watt hour battery is not out yet, by the way. It'll be out in a couple months. So, but according to their plans, no immediate plans to sell it with a 600. But that's going to be a dealer perk. I always think of dealers as adding value to the transaction, and it is something they can definitely add value. I don't see a reason why a dealer wouldn't swap an 800 for a 600 if that's what you want. According to our survey, about 22% want a 600 as a default, because there's an extender, and 78% want an 800. So you want to please both parties, right? And the last weakness is the torque rating. The torque rating on this is 111 Newton meters, 101 on the non-S Works. I hear they're the same motor. They're just restricted by chip level firmware. So it's 111 on this guy. And the old one was 90, and this is 111. So that's a 24% increase. So quite a jump. And it is a jump. You definitely notice it, but it doesn't feel like 24%. And on my measure, on my test hill, I had a 14% increase in speed. So not quite 24%. So I think it's overrated a little bit, especially when you compare it to the DJI motor. DJI motor, they claim 105, and man, that thing is fast. This was 412 on my test run. That DJI was like 335 or something ridiculous, 338. So either that's underrated or this one's overrated a little bit. But those are the weaknesses to help you decide whether this is good for you. Like I said, 4 carbon models, and hopefully the aluminum will come out later, because I know that's a significant part of the revenue, because a lot of people can afford that. We just don't know when that will happen. And then a frame set is available as well. As far as the bottom line, it is the leader again. Takes the lead because of the system. The bike ride quality is impeccable for sure. But there's competition there now. The Pivot Shuttle LT, that new RE, the Crestline, they ride really well too. But right now, I'm willing to declare this the cream of the crop, because the system, everything, the motor, the suspension, the adjustability, this battery system. Look at this. Everything is so dialed now. Look at that. No more compared to the Bosch extender. This one is first rate, magnetized, and everything. And the way this extender attaches to the holder is mind blowing. It's captured here at the bottom and captured here near the top. And this is a metal extender. Anyway, so that's kind of the level of thought that they went in. Just hashtag dialed is what this bike is. And I'm really pleased to say that, once again, Levo has done it again. They did it with Gen 2 and Gen 3. Gen 2 to Gen 3 was not a huge change. But Gen 3 to Gen 4, this is a pretty dramatic change. And I'll cover that in future videos. But I think as a system, a bike, motor, electronics, configurability, battery, they've blown it out of the water once again. So there you go, my friends. Thank you for your time, and hope to chat with you guys more soon in the comments. Ask anything, I'll answer it. I did talk to the engineer for like 1 hour, and I got a lot of scoop about this bike that I just don't have time for right now. It's time to ride. Thank you.